Welcome to the Rock.
You alert the media. I launch the gas. You refuse payment. I launch the gas.
You've got 40 hours till noon, day after tomorrow, to arrange transfer of the money. I am aware of your countermeasure. You know, and I know it doesn't stand a chance. Hummel from Alcatraz, out.
And that is how you start a show. Welcome, everybody. Episode 9, FYC Film Review. I'm your host, Gagne. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, Naldog.
What's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad. How was your Halloween?
It was fun. It was light and easy, and I thoroughly enjoyed not going door to door and having a trick or treat. So, buy the kids the candy, stay at home, stay safe. It was good. How was yours?
It was all right. Couldn't do much this year. We got like three trick-or-treaters and a whole lot of candy left over. So it's going to be tough trying to stay out of the candy jar.
Yeah, I hid it for myself, so I understand. Yeah.
What's your favorite candy?
Snickers.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Kit Kat guy, but Kit Kat.
I don't mind Kit Kat, but it's like way down on the list for me.
Oh, I fairly enjoy the Kit Kats. I do.
Like Brad Pitt enjoys his peanut butter.
Delicious.
It's a callback. You need to catch up on that episode. It's our very, very insightful, heartfelt Meet Joe Black episode. So
it's a great episode.
Catch up. What are we doing this week, though?
We went ahead, and I am super excited because we've been talking about this movie for a while, and we finally got to it. We are going to be reviewing the 1996 Michael Bay action flick, The Rock, starring Nick Cage, Sean Connery, and a fabulous Ed Harris.
Yes.
A lot of actors in there. And Sean Connery actually passed away last week, I believe. Last week.
It was, yeah. It was last week. Yeah, so. This kind of, I think, pushed us to, like, we got to do it now. Like,
yeah.
You just, when something like that happens, you want to revisit. I think I watched a few Jeopardy episodes this week. Alex Trebek passed too.
Trebek,
so,
that's right.
I mean, it was just like one of those, like, you want to feel, again, how those people have made you feel. They're larger than life, and they've been around our entire lives. And
that's right.
We had to do The Rock. It was meant to be.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of the first movies we talked about, and I think the first movie we did was Michael Bay, so I think it was, it's fitting.
Yeah, I like that you pointed out a fantastic Ed Harris, because I think it's fairly underscored that he's like the bad guy in this, and that's my first note. Ed Harris as a bad guy, I'm in. He plays it so well. Yep. He makes so many emotional speeches in this movie, and it's one of those movies where you feel for the bad guy almost, that you almost kind of root for him, even though he's got to get stopped. It's not right, but you're also like, yeah, I get it.
So this movie came out in 1996, right? What was Michael Bay's big movie before this? Was it Bad Boys?
Bad Boys.
So Bad Boys, and then this came out, and I almost forgot that it was rated R. There was like 80 F-bombs in this, like every 10 minutes. There's gore, there's blood, and there's shooting. So I think that's why I got the R rating. But I almost forgot it was rated R. I was thinking PG-13, kind of like Armageddon. But the minute I heard the first F-bomb, and then the second one, and then the third one, I'm like, okay, it's not PG-13. It's not PG-13.
Definitely not. I actually liked it. I kind of forgot about some of the more gruesome stuff, because the weapon is this chemical gas that they spew in the beginning, and it's a hard R. I like his rated R films. Bad Boys was rated R too, and it was really good.
I didn't care for Bad Boys, but
the original?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I just wasn't a fan. I think it was because at the time I was 14, maybe, probably going through puberty.
Ew.
I had all these weird feelings, and I just didn't bother to go out. So I don't know.
My first note past the Ed Harris, like, as a bad guy, I'm already in, was Hans fucking Zimmer. I mean, come on. The score is everything with this movie, and it's Hans Zimmer, and he is one of my favorite composers, and I love this score. It's so just beats and just deep, like I just I can't gush enough about this score. I can't talk about it in the musical terms I want to, but it's like, yeah, I love his composing.
It's memorable. I mean, when I was, a teenager, I had the score. I had the soundtrack and the score. It's so memorable that when you think about it, you kind of automatically think of the score, right? And I think good movies really have to have a good score, right? Not all the time, but a lot of the really good movies that you remember, whether they're a 3, a 4, or a 5, they have a good score. And this one, you say The Rock with Nick Cage, and you hear that, Hans Zimmer score. So it's great. I think it's great. It's a wonderful score. Did you know who Michael Bay wanted to cast originally?
No,
instead of Nick
no,
Cage?
hit me.
Okay, here we go.
Tom Cruise?
No, not Tom Cruise. Although I think that would have been a good choice too. Nick Cage was great. Michael Bay originally wanted the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
As who?
As Nick Cage, as Stanley Goodspeed.
No problemo.
Really?
I think, yeah. And he read the script. It wasn't finished. It was only like 80 pages long. And he said no. And I think I read somewhere where he kind of regrets not ever taking that role. I'm not sure if it was Goodspeed or Mason, but I mean, in '96, Schwarzenegger was still kind of young.
Yeah, I mean, he made Eraser that year. That movie was not very good, but he, he was still doing action films, quite heavily. I could see him maybe as Mason.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who else could have played him. Nick Cage was a great cast, and I don't know if you noticed this, but he really he doesn't swear a lot until the end. Like all the characters around him swear. Yeah. Right. But he doesn't really swear. He's always saying like "gee whiz," or he's just kind of this nerd guy, and it kind of is annoying at first, and then you finally get him swearing at the end. So I noticed that for the first time, that I'm like, oh wait a minute, he's not swearing, but everyone, even Sean Connery, was swearing. But so it's just stuff that I noticed.
Yeah. Fun fact: I've never been on Alcatraz ever.
Fun fact, neither have I.
Really?
I haven't.
No. 2 people grew up in the Bay Area, have never been on Alcatraz. That shows you how much of a tourist attraction it really is. Like, parents never took me.
Yeah, parents never took me. Schools, I went to school in San Francisco up to the 3rd grade, and then I never went when I was there. And then when we moved, even we never went. My parents never took me, and schools never took me. So,
wow.
I did go to the zoo a lot. So,
congratulations. When we bought a zoo, well, that'll be really relevant.
Oh, gosh.
It's episode 10. It's happening.
What? I think we just lost our 2 fans.
All right. Classic chase in San Francisco streets with the Hummer and the Lambo.
Okay.
That's another Michael Bay style. Like the way the car chase is followed, the cut scenes, things just randomly crashing into each other and exploding, cable cars toppling. There's kind of going back to what you said earlier. He definitely has a visual style that comes out very similar to Bad Boys in this and in Armageddon.
Yeah. Like you said, Michael Bay has a vision, and he does it well. The car chase scene, there's a lot of, throughout the movie, but he shoots the movie from all different angles, from the top, from the left, from the right, and even from the bottom. Yeah. Right? From the side of the car door, the way the camera kind of pans and swings, you know it's Michael Bay. And speaking about that car chase scene, when I had this movie back when VHS existed, we'll get into VHS as another episode. But I would play the hell out of that scene. I would turn up the volume, and I loved that car chase scene. I loved it. The moment he got into that yellow Ferrari, I was hooked. Immediately hooked, and I thought, this is the best car chase scene ever, hands down. I was 15, so yeah. I was 15. And watching it now, it's still good. It's still really good. I noticed how much damage they did to the city and how much disregard for life they didn't have as they're driving around.
I know.
There's this scene where he he takes like a shortcut through like an auto shop alleyway, and he comes crashing through the window onto the sidewalk. Had anybody been on that sidewalk, he would have murdered them. So
well, clearly he looked before he went out of that window.
I guess he did, but I don't know, man. As I get older, I'm more concerned about the people's safety in movies than before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry.
I hear you. That car chase scene is like, it reminds me of, I'm trying to think of like movies that, you know, will kind of mock that stuff happening, where it just seems like anything that can come out in the street will. Like, you've got guys playing basketball in wheelchairs. Great. Like you say, we're going to have a car crash through a shop window. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have a Humvee run through multiple different vehicles.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a cable car go take somersaults down a San Francisco street just for it to explode once it gets to the bottom, straight up in the air. Don't know why, but
really quick, they also had a little old lady crossing the street.
yes, they did.
It didn't even look like an old lady. It looked
Because
like
it's
a man. Was it a man?
Yeah, I looked it up. I was like, wait a second. That does not. When you start rewatching things, you start looking for, you know, those things. And yes, it was a man.
Okay, so I hadn't even researched it, but I saw that little old lady. I'm like, that little old lady she doesn't look old, and she looks weird. So I thought maybe it was just a man in a suit. Clearly, like you said, it's a man in a suit. So
yeah. Insert Austin
It's a
Powers.
man, baby.
That's
That's
funny. Can we rewind really quick? I want
Yeah.
to go back to the hotel that we're at when he was getting his haircut by the
Yeah,
stylist.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that scene is hilarious.
Yes.
When he comes in and he goes, "Oh, who did this to you?" or something like that.
Oh, who did this to you? This is just not right. In
It's
fact,
still funny. It's
nasty.
funny then. It's still funny now. So kudos to that actor. It was hilarious.
Yeah, he's a comedian. I can't think of his name right now, but he has another line too in the elevator where he's just like, "I just want to know, do you like your haircut?"
Yeah, it still works.
Yeah,
It still
it's good.
works. So
It's good. And you need those brief moments of, you know, breaking up the action with, you know, some comedy or, you know, some light-hearted moment between Sean Connery and his daughter, who Miss Claire Forlani, which we mentioned on a previous episode, is back for one scene.
yeah, she's back, and I thought, you know, even though she was only for 5 minutes, I thought she was good. I really wish they kind of expanded more on that relationship, or maybe you saw him reconciled with her at the end, but they don't. And it would have been intriguing because you know stuff that he's done, but I would have liked to seen John Mason get kind of like that happy ending where he's hugging his daughter at the end. It just didn't happen, but whatever.
And he was vaporized. The FBI is probably watching.
Yeah, vaporize.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that can happen.
yeah.
John Spencer, another good character actor, used to be on The West Wing, passed recently, but you know, Womack, the FBI director,
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
fantastic guy as well. That does really good in this movie. Just the little moments, you know, when he's getting pulled back up from falling off the rooftop, and you know, he's yelling at the FBI guy, "You're gonna pull my arm out of the socket!" You just, you know, grumpy old FBI guy who's just been around and seen everything. I like his
Not everything, because he didn't know about that slush fund for the Pentagon had.
That's true.
So
It's true.
So if we don't know what we're talking about, go watch it. It's because it's hard to explain in this. Yeah, but speaking of Hummel's demands, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not, he wanted money, right? He wanted money for these soldiers of his that sacrificed himself, and the government didn't do anything for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted money. My thinking was like, why didn't they just give him the money?
Because it's extortion. He took hostages, and you don't negotiate with terrorists. I don't know. I mean,
I don't either. I mean, it was like,
aren't you setting a precedent if you do that? If you give people money, what are you going to do with them? Throw them in jail afterwards, or are you just going to give those soldiers money and he's going to turn himself in?
I don't know, but I was wondering about that. It's like, okay, this whole thing could have been avoided if you guys just gave him the money.
Yeah. Then more people try to hold Alcatraz ransom or other things.
I guess, whatever. Let's move on. Whatever.
Just give him the money.
Just give him the money.
We'd
Yeah.
be like 20 minutes in and like we'd never even gotten to the rock.
Just give him the money. Okay, whatever. Fine. So we get to the scene where they're prepping up, right? And Stanley Goodspeed is thinking he's going to help this team, but he's not going to go in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they tell him, well, you're going to go in. Mason's already out there, already explained to Mason. And then, Goodspeed. Godspeed. Is it Goodspeed? It's Goodspeed, right?
Yeah.
Goodspeed. Whatever. Goodspeed, Godspeed.
Speed.
And he's scared, and it's kind of like that montage scene where the whole Navy SEALs are getting together and the scores blast in, and everybody's they're good to go, kind of like an Armageddon when they're in the rocket and everybody's getting ready to go. That's a great scene. Then you get to this really cool scene that they put in the movie was the underwater. I just wrote underwater bikes, underwater something. I don't know what it was.
There. Diving apparatus. Right?
I don't like underwater jets.
Badass is what they are. Like it was like an excuse to spend some money. Like we're gonna shoot this scene. Did you know that the Navy SEALs have these things? Oh shit, let's do it. Like give me 12 of them. We're gonna hit this. Yeah, and I read online that Disney, because Disney owned the studio, right? Yeah.
They wanted to take that part out, and it costs a lot of money to put it in. And then I guess it was like a battle between Bay and them, and they finally gave in and said, okay, fine, you can have this scene.
I love the diving scene because, it's like, well, it's a little more realistic than I think just having them dive into the water and swim over to the shore and take that approach. They had to sneak into whatever way John got out.
Yeah, which as they get into underneath the island, right, there's all these tunnels.
Yes.
There's like a fire boiler room that's still working after all these years. No. Okay. I mean, it's stuff that I never really paid attention to, right? But now that I'm like taking notes and watching it, I'm like, wait, there's fire? Why is there fire underneath the island? Why are these boilers things working? What's going on? Do they need them because there's electricity on the island? Is that what the boilers are there? Are they acting like some kind of solar stuff? Whatever. Yeah.
I tried to do some research to understand too, because you get that like tunnel scene where they're in these like, hanging rail cars that, are moving. I'm like, did they really have that on Alcatraz? Did they need that on Alcatraz? I'm like trying to like deduce in my head, okay, well maybe like deliveries, and then deliveries came one section, but then I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know, maybe like, and I looked up and there were in fact like tunnels and systems, within Alcatraz where they just elaborate that they have, a people mover on a rail car, like probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what it was. It was a people mover. The things in the sky look like sky buckets at Disneyland.
Sky buckets. There you go.
The sky buckets. Yeah. And the mine carts, whatever they're called, they just reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess you have to have some drama around them getting into the actual main part of Alcatraz. Like you can't just like they land on the rock and then they're there. Like and when they're there, like where do you shoot? I guess if you don't have some other, interior design to go, different places and do different things with the film, they stretched a little bit maybe. Do we go to the shower scene? Sounds more risque than it really is.
Yeah, it sounds sure. Yeah, let's go to the shower scene. That was a really, really great scene. Probably second favorite scene in the whole movie. Just because it was really intense, and you could see the Navy SEALs come up. The bad guys they're on top, so they're kind of like they're overpowered. And you got Hummel at the very top, and you got, the Navy SEAL, and they're talking back and forth. And you get a really intense exchange between them where, I got goosebumps again watching it. It's just that intense. And, the rock falls and somebody thinks it's a shotgun. And then you have this just mutiny happening to the U.S. Navy SEALs by a U.S. terrorist team. So it was intense.
Yeah, I love that scene back and forth with Ed Harris and Michael Biehn. Like, just I cannot, I can give that order that they respect each other so much and they're trying to work it out, and one slip and it all goes to hell. And it's still jarring now because you're just like, oh, it's so like you're just not, it's coming. you've watched
Right.
it, but
Yeah.
it's still just like, Jesus, like they just wipe him out, and down to the, the young kid who's supposed to be Goodspeed Shadow, going up, and he's like, don't go, like, knows like it's an ambush, like don't go up there, and he goes up there and gets it too. And it's just like, as Ed Harris is like crumbling on the ground, knowing like there's no turning back now, like he's officially, like a killer, and this wasn't his intention, and it just like, it's gut wrenching.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Aliens, like when the Marines encounter the aliens for the first time and they just start taking everybody out, and everyone's camera just goes out, and you're just like, oh God, like they did this, like all these characters are just done. So
I remember watching this first time, I was not expecting that whole team to die at all. I was not expecting the whole team to die, and it did. And even that one kid who was in Titanic. I just remember that kid was in Titanic.
That's right.
He was Mauricio or something like that.
Yeah, good call.
He was Leo's best friend who died because he got shot trying to open a fence or something. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah,
Titanic was a happy movie.
Titanic wasn't a happy movie.
I told you.
How dare you? It's not a happy movie. It's a 3-hour movie. It's a 3-hour movie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, whatever. All right, yeah. So that happens, and then you got John Mason and Stanley Goodspeed on their own now. This is it. It's just two of them, and everybody's kind of given up hope, except for Stanley Goodspeed, who kind of, pulls up his britches and grows some big cojones and goes, "Hey, we're gonna do this, John Mason."
This is where the movie kind of turns and becomes that like buddy cop where they're relying on each other, and there's some awesome lines between him and Connery. The Carla prom queen, I'll try my best, your best, like that's the best line in the movie. Like Connery's delivery of that
Losers
line,
always whine about their best.
about their best.
Winners go home and fuck the
I don't know if
prom
it's the
queen.
best line in a movie. It's not
Best
the
line.
worst line.
Best
It's
line.
not the
Most
it's
memorable
not,
line of The Rock.
like it's not a bad line. It's a really memorable line, but it doesn't.
Carla was the prom queen. Perfect. This is it. He realizes, I've got the prom queen. Game on, and goes and kicks some ass.
Okay, stand down. All right, stand
Best
down,
line in the
Captain.
movie. I love
All
it.
right,
I love
best
it.
line.
It's my favorite. I just, anytime someone says, I'll try my best. I mean, I can't not go into Connery.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I had a best line, so I'll give it to you. Okay.
I had to. I've been waiting.
Kudos to
holding
you.
back.
All right, I'll give you 10 points for that.
I almost stood up and cheered when, that it was time for that line.
Did you cheer?
I did.
Oh, you did.
I mumbled it under my voice, and my family looked at me like I was weird. I have just, again, a lot of random notes, not specific scenes, but it's funny because I had this issue with the first time I saw the film because it didn't make sense to me growing up in the Bay Area. But one of my biggest flaws of the film is when they fire that first rocket, they talk about it going to Oakland. But they talk about a football game, and then it goes by Candlestick.
Candlestick Park, yeah.
That's not Oakland. But on the map, as they're showing the actual rocket going that way, it is Oakland, but they messed up and they didn't use Oakland. They used Candlestick. I'm like, why didn't you just say San Francisco? Why did it have to be Oakland? Like,
I don't know.
Why did you yell out that it was heading towards Oakland? Why are you trying to blow up Oakland?
I don't even remember that part, to be honest with you. So I don't even remember that part.
It was one of those things
I didn't
that
catch it.
As soon as I saw it again, I was like, damn it. I remember that knowing the crap out of me when I saw that film. I was like, that's not Oakland.
That's
I was
funny.
very territorial of Candlestick Park. The rocket death scene with Candyman.
Candyman. Candyman.
Do you not like the scene? It's savage and it doesn't make any sense. Like it's a horrible like dance around the rocket, bad lines. I just love the fact that he got fired out of a window by a rocket, somehow caught him or he held onto as he goes out the window. Maybe the force pushed him out the window, but then he gets impaled by a chain link fence pole. Amazing.
Yeah, that's rated R. Rated R. You could do that with a rated R movie.
It's just a great death scene. It's just, when everyone's getting shot up, you got shot out of a window by a rocket and impaled.
I I don't know if I hate that scene or not. I know I don't. I can't. I don't know. I just can't fully appreciate it. Just the way that whole scene came about. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Stanley Goodspeed. I think we got on the wrong foot. Do you like music or soft music or the Elton John song Rocket Man?" He goes, "I don't like soft shit." Okay. Because it's you. You're the Rocket Man.
Rinaldo masterpiece theater. Good work, sir. Good work. I love it. No, you're right. It's not good. I enjoy it because I just love his response. I don't like that soft shit. Like, it's perfect. It's 100% true. He probably doesn't. Like, I know. So Rocket Man's not for everybody. But
I like the Rocket Man. It's a good song.
Yeah. It's okay. It's good.
It's a great song.
It's kind of soft.
Whatever.
To think about, there's another scene. Is it with him or? Oh no! So it's when they're locked up in the prison, and
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
When Nick Cage is laying there, and he's like, "I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy." He tries to redo it a couple times.
Yeah,
I love that.
That one's good. Okay, no, okay. I apologize. I thought we were going to go somewhere else. I thought we were going to talk about Zeus's butthole, but the "I take pleasure in gutting you, boy" is pretty classic. I remember that. That's probably one of the most memorable lines in the movie for me. The Carla, the quote is, but "I take pleasure in gutting you, boy." It's funny. I like it. Yeah, it's good. It's a good line.
Him trying to mock him and say it, and he's just so offended by that guy saying that. Just goes in this tirade of like, what's wrong with these people? Like, It's like the nerd in high school who's like mad at the jocks, like just still bitter. Like, I'm being picked on. It's so good. The delivery is very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
I'm to the end of my notes. I'm towards the end of the movie. So without giving away my worst line, or just sitting here quoting more lines that I love, like I drive a Volvo, a beige one.
Like,
just random things that they say in this movie. I
think a lot of it was ad lib. Originally, I read somewhere that the movie was actually going to be, it's more serious than it was, but a lot of these kind of like funny, quirky scenes were ad lib. And so I think they just stuck with them. They tried them out and it worked. But I think the movie was supposed to be a little bit, more serious than it was. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, one of those directing, things that you're like, okay, Nick, your character is so nerdy he doesn't cuss. You get out of that, you're like, let's get the chit chat a-hole. Like,
what do you see? We cut the chit chat
a-hole. Over the top Nick Cage, and you're like, why does he talk like that?
Yeah. I think you're right. And I think that's exactly what might have happened. It's like, okay, we're going to give you free range, Nick, here. You're a nerd. You can't cuss, but I want you to act like yourself. And we got all these crazy lines, which I don't think the writers would think of Zeus's butthole. I think that's more like in Nick Cage's brain, and they used it and it worked.
Yeah.
So,
here's your scene. You're laying here and you want to know why Mason hasn't gotten you guys out of here yet.
Yeah.
So that's that line. So
bad. If we're going to the end now, my favorite scene in this whole movie was the ending. Was when he takes the needle, what was it? The atropine needle.
Sure. Yeah.
And I hope I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not saying it right. This needle that he sticks in his heart. And then he gets up and he has to shoot the flares up, right? So these F-18 jet fighter, which, by the way, I am a sucker for jet fighter scene. I really am, since Top Gun. Just the scene where these jet fighters are flying below the Golden Gate. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that scene was just amazing. And you got Nick Cage, barely trying to get up, and he's lighting these flares, and they're turning green. You got the jet fighters kind of hovering above him. You got his girlfriend crying because she's going to think he's going to die with this, these bombs. And just the score, this is where Hans Zimmer comes in and is so brilliant. The way he does it, that whole scene was just phenomenal to me. That, to me, is my favorite scene of all in this whole movie, hands down.
Okay. I can't argue with that other than the fact that it wasn't really a heart that he stabbed that into. It looked more like his stomach, but, you know. It's a little
He's
low
supposed
on
to do it in
stab.
the heart, though.
Yeah, it was. It was like, but then he gets up and it's like down here, you know, at the belly. And I'm like, all right, well, close enough.
It works.
He was, you know, poisoned. So I would just get close too. I don't even know that I could stick myself. I probably would just die to the poison. But
Yeah.
that is fantastic. The arms crossed, waving it like on his knees, just exhausted. Yeah. Such a dramatic moment. Except it leads to a question I have for you. What was a longer explosion flight distance, this or Face Off off the boat?
I don't know. Maybe it's a tie. I don't know.
The folks at home can't see, you know, I've got a map of Alcatraz here. I mean, he was like at the top and that explosion threw him into the water. It was just like 75 feet away, 100 feet away. It just, I would say that this one was a lot further. I just was like, Jesus Christ, like the exception to physics and when people get blown out of.
But at least he landed in the water in this one.
Yeah.
Right? The other one he landed on
the shore.
gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever.
Sure.
And then you get to the end, right? At the end, and then John Mason and him, and they talk, and he tells him, hey, you know, this is the part that was kind of weird for me. If the bikes are still out there right out the shore and there's $200 in my hotel room, and I thought, okay, so he's going to ride back out underwater and he's going to go into a hotel room and he's going to get $200. I just thought that was like, okay, that's the send off. That's the last we see of him, basically.
Yeah.
I wish they would have, explored just a little bit more the relationship with him and his daughter. But whatever.
You're at 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2:15 at that point. There's not really much else you could do. I guess maybe one wrap up scene where he gets to see her again.
I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
Know. Armageddon had a music video. Give me a music video.
You want like a Claire Forlani music video at the end of The Rock where she's reconciling with her dad. He like sends her a random train ticket and meets.
I love it. Yeah. And then meets Joe Black and she falls in love and he walks her down the aisle. Okay, whatever.
I like it. Yeah. Somehow tie these movies together. Yeah. I could see that. Take it or leave it. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're introducing her, although I mean the whole introduction was because he got away and they knew how to get him back, and so I like that scene because it shows Stanley's not a bad guy. He has sympathy.
He's got heart. Yeah, I like that. I really like that scene where he lets him go. And it just a really quick scene I want to call out when he hands him the paper that tells him, hey, you go to Kansas, not Maui, go to Kansas, right? He opens the paper and all of a sudden John Mason is like 2 miles out. Right? He's 2 miles out. And I'm like, wait a minute. He just opened the paper. He must have run really fast to get all the way across that scene. And then he opens it and then he walks away. I thought, that's weird.
Wasn't Connery a Highlander? Can he just like teleport himself?
Yeah, he was. I believe he was.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I know. I did notice that it's very glaring because it's like there's barely anything on the paper. So I mean, it takes them like 10 seconds to open it, look at it, and then they go show. Yeah.
Like, unless he just sat
over there.
Unless he just sat there, pondered about it, thought about what he was going to do, and then he opened it.
Yeah.
But that's not what the scene implies. The scene implies he gave him the piece of paper. He opens a piece of paper, and then you see John Mason all the way across where he's at.
He must have had like a secret tunnel like right there that just like brought him up on that beam. Because
sure,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, see, like John Mason.
Yeah, the end scene, I guess I could have done without too, but I guess it's like Stanley's happy ending wrap up. You know, he finally married in his beige Volvo, which I never noticed was the actual car he called out.
Yeah.
But it did very much look like every other small Midwestern town that Michael Bay shoots. My God, you know, like dirt road, like random one steepled church that fits like 12 people and there's not even people around, you know. It's like church in the middle of nothing. He probably constructed that just for this scene.
I don't know, but he probably used it in Armageddon too, so
likely.
But I liked it. I liked the end scene. I thought it was fun, and you know, got the microfilm, and he goes, honey, do you want to know who shot JFK? And it ends, and it was I didn't have it was cute. It was cute. And so that's how it ends.
All right. So we're gonna go different this time a little bit, and we're gonna segment our worst line. And did you have one this time around? Because I know there's some awesomely bad movies or awesomely bad lines in this, but okay, you have one. This
bad line segment.
Yes.
Here we go. My bad line in this movie. I mentioned the scene already, but it was the Rocket Man scene. I'm not gonna act it out anymore, but when he says, "It's you. You're the Rocket Man." And he shoots the rocket, and it sends the Candyman. When we say the Candyman, because he was in the Candyman, for you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, he was the bad guy.
Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He shoots the Candyman out and in the rocket, and he falls and he gets impaled. So my worst line of the movie was, "It's you. You are the Rocket Man." So
there's some bad one-liners in this one. You actually already mentioned mine, which was how in the name of Zeus's butthole.
Okay.
Because
that's a bad one.
It's so bad in how it's delivered.
Did you get out of yourself?
At that point, he'd already been going on for some moments about how angry he was at the Marines for gutting him or wanting to gut him. That I just was like, come on. Like, I just, who comes up with a line like that? It had to have been ad-libbed. Who thinks that?
I've never even heard that expression, Zeus's butthole.
Yeah. I don't,
or let alone anybody's butthole. Like, I've never heard that expression before in the name of someone's butthole. I've never heard that before. It just sounds odd. It sounds weird. So, yeah.
My honorable mention was the Connery to Womack saying, you're between the rock and a hard case. It's just like, no, didn't work. But no. But the Zeus's butthole was much, much worse.
Yeah. It sounds awful. Zeus's butthole was much worse.
It's like a bad garage band, man.
Zeus's butthole. Okay. And that concludes the bad line segment.
That is it. I'm proud of you. One of these days we might be aligned in our bad lines, but you called mine out. So
we haven't done it yet. We haven't had the same worst line yet. So
not yet.
Not yet.
It's surprising because we both have been fairly aligned with our ratings, which takes us to the next segment. We like to rate, our rewatching of the film, typically on a 1 to 5 scale, and we like to think about something specific to the film. Armageddon, we did Asteroids, and Scott Pilgrim, we did
Evil Exes.
Evil Exes, thank you. So, we try to come up with something from the movie specifically that, we'll equate the 1 to 5 rating system to. So, I had a hard time with this one. I definitely recalled this being my favorite Bruckheimer film, and it's not. Rewatching it reminded me that I like Armageddon more. Despite how much I love Nick Cage in this, and I love the action sequences, and the score is better than the score for Armageddon. It's a solid. Wait, I can't give the number yet. I can't give the number yet because we didn't talk about what it was going to be.
That's right. Oh, look at you.
I know. I almost put the horse in front of the cart. Horse does go in front of the cart, right? I always say that wrong.
Zeus's butthole in front of the cart.
How many Zeus's buttholes are we?
Yeah.
Damn it. Why didn't we think of that? That could have been the rating system.
We could use Zeus's butthole.
Yeah. I think, VX rockets,
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 4. I almost went 3.5, but I can't do it.
And why not?
Because I enjoy the movie too much. And this whole time we've been talking, I hear the score in the back of my head, and I laugh at the lines that are funny, and Nick Cage is really good in this movie. He's so funny, and he's so good with Sean Connery. And I just couldn't do it. Couldn't pull the trigger.
Wow. 4.
4 VX rockets.
Yeah, 4 VX rockets. Good. Unlike you, my friend, I'm going to go just a tiny bit lower. This used to be my favorite Michael Bay movie. And then Armageddon came out. And then Armageddon kind of blew it out the water for me. I think the score in Armageddon is better.
Ooh.
I think the whole movie is better. I think Armageddon has more heart. I think Armageddon just has better characters. And overall, I just like Armageddon better. However, I did grow up with this movie and I really liked it. Roy watching it again, I was so close to giving it a 4. I was so close. And then I thought, okay, you got to be true to yourself, man. Did you really, really like it, or was it something kind of off? And unfortunately, this time watching it as I get older, there was something a little bit off about it. Things kind of annoyed me more.
Sure.
So I went with a 3.5.
Okay.
3.5. I love the score. I love Nick Cage in it, even if he's crazy. He's not as crazy and unhinged as Face Off, but I like it. And it's always going to have that kind of like that special place for me, The Rock, because it was one of Michael Bay's first movie that I really enjoyed. And, he outdid himself, for me personally, with Armageddon. Sure. And like I said before, I saw the blueprint in this, what Armageddon was going to be. And I really appreciated that. So I would absolutely recommend this movie. Watch it. It's a great movie. I think most people will like it, will enjoy it. So 3.5 V rockets filled with poisonous gas for me.
Yeah, I can't disagree, and I almost went 3.5. I think there's a lot of nostalgia in this movie, and obviously, we both were raised in San Francisco, and so that kind of plays and comes through. I'm a big Sean Connery fan. He was, until Daniel Craig, my favorite Bond, and so for that reason, I can find so many good reasons to rewatch this. And the fact that there is a bad guy and a good guy, I like that play. I love Ed Harris, and so yeah. 3.5 out of between this and 5 at Armageddon. Just, you have to live with that.
I'm okay with that. I will wear that. I don't have any problem. I am a Armageddon super fan. I'm not ashamed to say it. Yeah. And I know a lot of people don't like the movie. So I know people who do like it. But I love Armageddon. It's a great film. It's a great film. I
think it became very easy to hate him after Transformer movies. But this was Bad Boys, this, and then Armageddon. That's a hell of a trio of your first 3 feature films where you were given a big budget, big stars, and honestly delivered. All 3 of those movies I have watched at least a half a dozen or more times. And so I give props for that. Yeah, whatever. He has a style, and he didn't really get much further past that style. He does, like you said, a lot of those shots from below and a lot of these, shots from the side of a car, and fine, whatever. It's his style. It's a Michael Bay film, and you know what you're getting into. So
he knows his craft, and he does it well. And sometimes it worked really well in the 90s, and as it progressed further, it didn't really work. Yeah. But he's a good director. He knows his stuff, and love him or hate him, you can't deny that he's a good director.
Watch The Rock if you haven't. Let us know what you think. Chastise Rinaldo for going against, what he used to say. Just
no.
Let us know. Don't worry. He's not on social media. I'll cover for him. Don't worry. I'll give him all the messages.
I'll give Chris my responses. But we appreciate everybody watching and listening, and please watch them and let us know what you think. We're doing this because we love movies and we like rewatching them, and we love hearing people's opinions. If you want to have a debate on what's better, let me know. Let us know. We would love to have a debate on this. We love movies just as much as you do, and it's not like our opinions are 100% right? We just have our own opinions, and we love them. And if you hate them, then too bad. So
yeah. We don't have any teaser for you for next week. We'll come correct with something fun.
Cool.
But yeah, this has been fun, guys. I appreciate everybody watching, tuning in, listening. We love you guys. And hopefully you had fun with this episode. I know I did. And we'll check you next time. I've been Chris, and this is Rinaldo for your consideration.
Later, guys. Talk to you later.